everybody. I'm glad to have you here today. We are going to be playing with the Spellbinders monthly clubs today. So let's get started. First of all, you're going to see something a little different about my background. I got a white glass mat and I've been testing different lighting, so just bear with me as we figure this all out. I think we're getting closer to what my setup will be going forward. So I'm really excited about that. It definitely takes a lot of finessing to get these videos right. All right, so here is the small die of the month. It's called Punch and Pierce Borders. And you can see on the left, you have some shaped border dies, and then on the right, you have these piercing dies. And there's so much you can do with these. You can mix and match them. You can use them separately. Right here you can see how that one scalloped piercing piece just fits right in to pierce that border. You can use the border that actually cuts out, or you can use the open border, the open scalloped border. There's also this little strip border that just cuts a straight line. And you can use the stitching dies together to create one big pattern, or you can use them separately. Just so much you can do. Now today I'm going to be kind of showing you something different, but for right now I'm going to show you probably what you've seen a lot of, considering it's already April 5th, you've probably already seen a lot of inspiration. So a lot of people have shown these beautiful cards where they cut the shape in the paper, as you see on that white piece of cardstock, and then they'll take all these stitching dies or piercing dies and they'll pierce the entire panel. And it creates this really beautiful backdrop for flowers or whatever. And there you'll see that there. So you've probably seen a lot of that. And it's really pretty. But I am not going to do that. I'm going to focus more on the shapes today. And I'm going to go for more of a bold graphic look in my cards. I will still use some of the piercing because they are so pretty. So here you see I have all these shapes cut, and I'm going to show you how I got such even spacing on those shapes. I just made sure all my paper was the same width, the width of an A2 card, which is 4¼ inches wide. And I would take the straight edge and line it up on one of the lines on my glass mat. And so for the first piece, I would line the bottom edges of the die to the 1/4 inch mark right above. So each of these lines on my glass mat represents a 1/4 inch. So I would just line that up with the first line, the 1/4 inch mark, and I would die cut that first piece. And then for the second piece, I'm gonna again line up the straight edge at the bottom, and then I'm gonna move up 2 lines, which represents a 1/2 inch. And I would just continue doing that for all my pieces so that they were exactly 1/4 inch apart. This is what I found to be the easiest. I mean, you could have just cut them all and then cut the straight edges down to be the right height, but this just seemed to be the quickest and easiest way. So here are all my pieces. There's a lot that I could have done with this. What I'm going to show you right now is I could have made a shaped card and just had that whole design just be a shape, and I think that could have been really cool. So to make a shaped card, you would just take this die with a side folding A2 base, and you would cut the top and the bottom, and that would create a shaped card that would open to the side. But I'm just going to use a typical top folding A2 card base today and put my pieces on that. I am going to come in with some of the piercing. So you see right here, I'm using that scalloped pierce piece. And I'm going to cut 2 pieces of white out of that so that the navy shows through the white. Now here I'm showing you another thing I could have done. This could have easily been a gatefold card that opens to the side, or even a gatefold card that opens where the top and bottom open. And then you could easily just put a belly band over it, over the middle, like that. I didn't do that today. I just felt like the bulk of all these layers just would have been awkward getting a thin belly band on and off. So here I've attached all of my pieces together. They're all glued together, and now I'm going to glue them to my card base. And for some reason I had brought my waffle flower media mat into the picture. I think I was worried that there was glare on the glass top, so that's why I brought it in. It's just been kind of an all-consuming thing with me trying to figure out these videos and how to reduce the glare on the mats and also not have shadows being cast by lights. So we're getting there, we're getting there. All right, so here you see me gluing on this white piece, and then I will glue on the second one. And again, there's this blank edge on both those white pieces that wasn't pierced, and that's okay because now I'm coming in with this navy blue strip that's going to cover that up. And then I'm just going to have a very simple sentiment on this card today. This cute little hello die, which is from the Layered Mix and Match Sentiment set. You'll see me use this die set for almost all of my projects today. So I think I doubled that sentiment up, so that's 2 layers of white cardstock. And that's it, that's my card. I love how that turned out. Right, so as I was playing with those pieces on that first card, I thought they kind of remind me of clouds. So here you see me, I had cut some more strips or some more pieces, and now you see me just kind of playing around with this idea of maybe they look like clouds. Now I have some cloud dies in my stash, but every cloud die is different. And that's just a round piece of yellow cardstock to make a sun. But I don't know. I like thinking outside the box. So here's the card I made using this idea. And the letters for sunshine are from the Bold Lowercase Alphabet, which is one of my favorite alpha die sets. And here again, I kind of played with the idea of clouds. And this is where I made the shaped card. And you'll see the balloons have that piercing design. And I used the large scalloped piercing die to create this. I just cut it once on a yellow piece of cardstock, and then I flipped it over and die cut it again. And then I just cut the balloon out of that. And it created this really seamless, mirrored look. So I think it turned out really cute. Again, just something different that you can do with these dies. All right, so let's focus a little bit more on some of the stitching dies. And I found that I just kind of went crazy making tags. These main tags are from the Create a Decorative Tag Die Set. And again, you could use all of the piercing dies together to kind of make a mixed pattern, but for this particular tag, I just used this one die and I just cut it once, then cut it again, and you see me, I think I cut it 7 times to make this design, and it just looks like a seamless design. And I just glued that onto a solid color tag so that you could see the design through it. And now let's just create a cute tag. I'm going to use this sweet birdie die. And again, I'm going to use that same sentiment set. This time I matted the words onto the shadow dies. All right, so here let's just keep piercing everything in sight. So I used this particular piercing die and I cut a piece of yellow cardstock. And then I took this little Swallowtail Tag Die Set and I cut the tag kind of in the middle of the design. And you might be asking yourself, what is she going to do with this little tag? Well, it just kind of looks like lace to me. And I thought it would be fun to kind of bundle these little tags together, and you could tie them on a string. You could attach it to this bigger tag, or you could just attach it to a little gift. But I think these little swallowtail tags look good when they're combined together. So I don't know, I just thought it was cute. And at that point I was just kind of looking at stuff like, what can I pierce? What can I pierce next? And there's my final tag. I love it. That bird is so cute. All right, let's make another tag, because why not? This time I hot foiled a sentiment in the middle of my tag, and then I just took 2 of the different piercing dies to create this design on the bottom. And again, the easiest thing to do when you're using more than one of these piercing dies together is just to tape them together before running them through, and that way they don't separate and they'll give you that seamless look. So that's what I did on the bottom, and now you'll see me taping them together like I was just saying. And I'm just going to reverse the design to put on the top. And I'll run that through my die cutting machine, and it's just going to create this really pretty tag. Now, when you have hot foil, don't put tape on the hot foil, because it will lift that hot foil up. So here you can see the aura color foil that I used. It's really pretty. And there's the final tag. And I put that sweet little mini bow on top, and I think it's really sweet. Let's move on to the 3D embossing folder of the month. This month it's called 3D Patchwork, and here you can see why. There's all these different designs, and you can just use all the designs on a card panel, which is really cool. You can do some color blocking, but I'm just going to use this middle design. And I'm going to do one of my go-to techniques with 3D folders. I am going to rub a distress ink pad over the flat side. So that's the side where the flowers are indented. And what happens is when you run that through your die cutting machine, the blue ink is going to transfer to the background, everywhere where the flowers are not. So here's what we get, and I've failed to mention, I sprayed both my paper and the ink in the folder before running it through. So it kind of looks a little splotchy at first before it dries, and you could get rid of that splotchiness by running it through more than once, but I kind of like the splotchiness. That's why I love using the Distress Oxide. I really wanted kind of a loose watercolory look for this card, which is also why I am using my Zig watercolor markers. And I'm just going to very loosely and quickly color these flowers. This could not have been any easier. I thought about coloring the leaves green, but I just love this blue and yellow and white together. I just think it's really striking. So here I've cut my panel out, and I'm gonna mount it on kind of a white mat, and you'll see I'm just taking 2 pieces of heavyweight white cardstock, gluing those together to create my mat, just to give it a little bit of dimension. Now normally I would, use foam tape to attach my 3D embossed panels. But I felt like this, on the back of this embossed panel, was enough flat area that I could glue it and not worry that there wasn't enough area attaching to the base, if that makes sense. So you don't always have to use foam tape to attach your embossed panels. So like I said, I'm using the same sentiment set again. This time I am using the shadow dies, and I'm doubling up those shadows. And this is a navy colored cardstock. And again, I'm keeping my sentiments on these cards today super simple. I'm not adding any sub-sentiments. I actually do that a lot. I don't know. Sometimes I struggle with sub-sentiments, but also sometimes I just feel like I want this background to be the focal point of the card, and so I don't want to clutter it up. So this is basically what the final design is going to be. I think in the final image you'll see I added some enamel dots in navy and yellow to finish up the design. But that's it. And I love the look. You can't really see it on the video very clearly, but that blue background, the kind of the splotchy look of it, especially in the lighter areas, it kind of looks like denim. And I think that's just because that prize ribbon color Distress Oxide, it just really gave that denim look. So here are all my projects for today. I hope that they inspire you to use your products in different ways and to just have fun. You don't always have to do what everybody else does, although that is okay. But sometimes I just really like doing something different and getting more use out of my supplies. So again, I really hope that you're inspired, and if you're getting these kits, I hope you have fun. There are definitely other monthly clubs that Spellbinders has as well, so check those out. I have a link to all of the clubs below, as well as a link to all the products I used on my projects. I really appreciate you spending this time with me today, and please like and subscribe. And I love seeing comments, so if you have a moment, leave me a comment and let me know what you think about the new white mat. Do you like the white or the dark background better? I'm definitely interested to hear that. I hope you all have a great day. Bye-bye.